class, welcome to Physical Geology here at West Valley College. I am your instructor, Robert Lopez, and this is a 4-unit lecture lab course taught completely online, asynchronous, which means you can take it or read and do all the assignments at any time during the day, so there are no set meeting times, in other words. I do have office hours, so we can do a Zoom chat, and I'll talk about that in a moment. We have two required pieces of material. One is the textbook, where you'll see that the Canvas reading quizzes are based primarily on the chapters out of this book. The nice thing about this book, it's free. It's an open a resource textbook, and you can download it here. I download the PDF either on your computer, or you can do iBooks and read it on your iPhone and iPad or on your computer. So that's the textbook. It's free. And then there is a lab manual, and I do have it available in the bookstore. It's about $25. Or actually, you don't need to buy it because I provide the lab sheets in Canvas. So I'll put PDF files or even MS Word files in Canvas where you can download those, print them out, and do your labs on those lab sheets. The key thing is you need to print them out. If you don't have a printer, well, then that's where you have to go to the bookstore and buy the book. That way, because you'll need to scan these or take really detailed pictures with your phone and submit them as JPEG files. I prefer JPEG files because I can't really read all the other files. So JPEG or PDFs. Actually, I prefer PDF. The second would be JPEG. Very readable, right? So anyways, that's a little bit about the lab manual there. And then in terms of the syllabus, we'll get the syllabus real quick. Make sure you read through the syllabus. There is a syllabus quiz that's due on Thursday, because in this class you'll see that assignments are going to be due bi-weekly, right? So bi-weekly, which means twice a week, Thursday nights and Sunday nights. The first set of assignments will be June 23rd, second set June 26th. So make sure you read through this. Another big part here I want to point out is, let's go back to my office hours. Yeah, office hours. So if you want to do a Zoom, send me an email and I'll send you the link to the Zoom meeting. Or, I'm always available through Canvas email. We can communicate that way. But if you want to meet and talk, we can do it through Zoom here. So a little bit more about course requirements, about the lab manual and the textbook there. Read about the online format. Over here I have something about student expectations, right? 20 hours per week. So make sure you read about this, because remember, this is a 4-unit course, lecture and lab, that we're compressing from 16 weeks down to 6 weeks, right? And so we need to do this over this short period of time. A little bit more about the labs. One thing about, since this is a transferable course to UC, to Cal State, to the IGETC pattern, so it goes to Santa Clara or Stanford University, wherever you're going, we're telling them that you passed a lecture and lab course. So in other words, you need to get a passing grade, C or better, in the lab in order to get a passing grade in the class, right? You can be at 100% on all the exams and all the lecture assignments, but if your lab grade isn't above 70%, then you cannot receive a letter C. So anyways, read what's going on here. It's important for the lab part of this course. I have some exam dates already up here, and how I kind of break down these exams. We'll look at the modules here in a moment, but again, this is all the syllabus. Read through the syllabus here, and then at the bottom I do have the tentative schedule for the summer. So you can see that we're doing minerals this week on Thursday, and then igneous rocks will be due Sunday, and then next week is going to be a little compressed. We have to kind of squeeze into these labs. So we'll be doing 4 labs next week, and then we go back to the 1 lab per week. So anyways, I have pretty much the whole course published. Let's look at the modules. So remember, the whole course is presented here in the modules tab. And if we go back here for the first module due June 23rd, which is this coming Thursday, you'll see I'll have this. Well, in fact, the key thing, I have this learning guide, and I recommend either printing this or jotting it down And this is sort of like your checklist of what you need to do for this assignment that's due June 23rd. And you can see there's a syllabus quiz. I have a whole lecture series here. I guess just one lecture and this one here for the introduction. But then you can see for minerals, I have 4 videos here. You can see I have my writings there. So it's like coming to class and I'm writing on the whiteboard or the chalkboard, and your job is to take notes, because each lecture series, right? I'm doing all this writing here and giving you the information. You'll see that I have a series of study questions, right? So these study questions, the answers to these come from those videos, from my videos. You can look these up on the internet and get answers, but they're not the correct answers. And a lot of these questions, especially these, 4-part definition of mineral, that's worth like 4 points, right? So if you look it up on the internet and you get the wrong answer, you're going to miss out on the 4 points. So make sure you get the answers to these study questions from my video lectures, because what I do, I use these questions to write the exams, right? So in other words, you're seeing the exam questions right here. So it's going to, so don't stress out. You're going to do well. Pay attention to the videos, write, take notes, answer these questions, and you'll do fine. So that's a little bit about the study questions. You'll see that each module will have a series of study questions. Then here's a chapter 1 reading quiz, a chapter 2 reading quiz, and then each lab will have a tutorial. In other words, you'll go through this tutorial, whether it's minerals, igneous rocks, volcanic rocks, geologic structures, or whatever, topographic maps. You'll go through all the steps here, and then there are some lab drills and quizzes here. Don't worry about those, because the one that counts for us is the Canvas quiz. So you see there's a pre-lab quiz based on that preceding tutorial, right? So you'll go through these questions, and you'll see a lot of these questions are coming directly from that lab tutorial. So you'll do that, then you go over here and do the lab, which would be, it wants me to submit quiz. I don't want to do that yet. And then let's look at the lab real quick. Yeah, so when you do the lab here, so the way I've done it, remember, you don't need to buy the lab manual. You can just download the files. They're right here. But you need to be able to print them out, right? So again, if you don't have a printer, then go buy the lab manual. You'll have the hard copies, and because there's going to be a lot of writing and different things we have to do in the lab for the hands-on portion of this course, right? So you'll see that the labs will be broken into these activities, right? Activity 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and so on. And so in the lab, you'll follow the directions in the lab here, and then you'll answer the questions based on what I do in the demonstrations in these lab videos, right? And note that I have the whole lab here, which is like 25 pages. Obviously, I don't want you to print 25 pages, but I do want you to download the whole lab, have it on your computer, because those are the instructions, the directions. And also there's mineral data tables in there to help you identify the minerals that I present down here. So these activity 1.7 is I'm going to present these minerals. I'm going to do different tests on them. You can see I'm doing the tests here. And then based on what you see, you go to the mineral data tables, which are going to be in the big lab here, and determine what the sample is. But what I want you to do for printing, I do want you to print the lab answer sheets. So this is a smaller portion. It's just the places where you have to actually enter data or answer questions. That's what you print, and that's what you scan and submit to the lab, right? And so usually what I recommend is you can download a PDF scanner or an application, an app called, in fact, the one I have is called a QR reader, and the QR reader you can get from the App Store, and this QR reader allows you to you can sort of, it's called QR reader. Just go to the App Store and it will allow you to take a picture of the document with your phone and then save it as a PDF file, and then you can submit that to this assignment here, right? So anyway, it's a little bit about the labs there. One important thing about the labs, and I'm teaching this at a different college as well, and we've already done the first week, and students are really confused about activity 1.7. This is where you use the skills you learned up here to identify these unknown samples that I present. So it's really important to try to identify these, because what students were doing, they were just kind of writing some of the things I was saying, but we're not naming the mineral. And so this is worth about maybe 12 points out of 30 points for the lab. So this is a big part of the lab. Make sure you give me a mineral name based on, in fact, let's just look real quick at the data tables, right? So here is the whole lab, right? And so there's a lot of background material in here. And if we go down toward activity 1.7, which is the last activity here, here's 1.7. And again, you'll see that in the videos, I'll do a hardness test. I'll say maybe this mineral's hardness. The first thing we do is luster. And luster is really important because luster is the way the mineral reflects light. And there's two basic categories. There's metallic luster and non-metallic luster. So you'll see in the data table, right here, the first part of this table, step 1, is for metallic minerals, right? Metallic luster. And then the second part over here is for non-metallic. And you'll find the majority of minerals are going to be non-metallic. You see there's 2 pages of non-metallic and only like half a page of metallic minerals, right? But that's the first thing. So if I say this mineral looks metallic, then you want to go to this metallic minerals part. But if it's non-metallic, then you go over here, right? Let's say I have a non-metallic mineral, and then the next thing is hardness. And hardness 3, you'll see about what hardness 3 is on the Mohs hardness scale. But on this Mohs hardness here, you can see hardness, well, here's a 3, 3.5. And then I'll do different tests on the video exercise, and you read what's going on here about, how the mineral breaks, how it cleaves, right? The cleavage there, whether or not it reacts to acid here. So if you see me doing this, read what's going on here. I do a streak test, which means I scratch it on a porcelain plate and I get different colors there. I'll give you that information. Then you can say, well, it's probably calcite or dolomite. So that's how you can get the answers here. You go over here, first it's a luster, then it's a hardness. Then I do these different tests here. Then you can identify what the mineral is based on these other properties you see in here, right? And then obviously you'll be answering those questions, right? So you'll put luster, the hardness that we determined in the video, what type of cleavage it has, and you'll read about that. That streak, some streak gives you kind of a sulfur odor, and I'll make a note of that as well. Other properties that I might depict on the video, and then you give the name there, right? So that's really important part of this lab, and that'll guarantee you the full points for that assignment. And this actually works for this same format. Identifying samples, we're going to be using it for both the igneous rocks, also sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks, and so on. But you can see I have pretty much the whole course published. I have the exams up here. I got to kind of edit them, make sure they're correct. So I haven't published those. I see them on my Canvas because I'm the editor, but you wouldn't see this. You'll just see the folder there, but you won't see the exam yet until I publish it. And then I think I have the dates pretty much on everything, except as we go later on here, you can see I don't have dates here. I'll publish these dates, but I have the due dates up in here. And what I'm trying to do, just to, I know it's going to be compact summer course, you're going to be busy, you're going to be doing this work and trying to meet these deadlines. And so you can see that I have all these assignments due on the 23rd that I think I give you. Let's take a look down here. What did I do? Yeah, so you can see it's due on the 23rd, but I give you another day. So I give you another day to submit it, right? So it's going to be open through the 24th, but it's really due the 23rd. But just remember that, after the 23rd, we're moving on to the next module, right? So there's a whole slew of assignments that are going to be due the following due date, right? But I give you a little bit of latitude. If you can't get it in by this day, you're probably overbooked for the summer. So again, this course is going to require quite a bit of an investment of your time. All right, so anyhow, I'll leave this for now, and I'll see you guys online.